Some guys really like Batman, and they had an epiphany. So they all got to work on the next Batman movie. And now they are the heroes, and you get to follow along. They're bringing him to life every week after this song. Batman, Project Batman, Project Batman. Fuck yeah. Alright, Sean, get somewhere where
we'll sit on
where you'll be inspired to speak.
Like in front of this gun.
Are you just sketching?
Yeah.
What are you sketching?
Well, I was trying to think about how I want the alchemist house to look like.
Just a little shacky.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was thinking some kind of Hagrid's hut looking.
Yeah.
Got a little alcove for his, like, beakers and Bunsen's and schematics. Whatever those are.
Bungholes.
Bungholes. His scientific bungholes.
I found out that a bunghole is actually like a term that is used outside of just, you know, what we normally think of when we think of the word bunghole.
What do you think of? Because I think about a nice vegetarian dinner.
I don't think I've ever heard that referred to as a bunghole, but okay. You know, I think of course, a bumhole.
Oh, okay.
But
that's how I feel about nice vegetarian dinners.
Okay, and the circle comes full, but
especially when there's a bumhole involved.
Welcome to Project Batman, ladies and gents. So no, bunghole is the hole in the side of a barrel of beer through which they put a tap to pour beer out.
Okay.
Interesting.
So the alchemist is an alcoholic. Alchemaholic.
The alchemaholic! Was that intentional? The alchemaholic?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to push them together.
It worked very well.
Alright, so there's at least two things I know I wanted to do today. First of which is, last time we were fucking consolidating old notes, and it was an overall not as entertaining episode, because there wasn't a bunch of new stuff, but there was a fun prank call in the middle of it. And,
did you leave that in?
Oh, yeah. I had to leave some life in that show. But I asked you to consolidate a big chunk of notes that we had written over different periods of time that all had to do with the finale of the movie.
Right.
So I sent a huge block of text to you that you were nice enough to take a few hours to write out. So, do you want to read it?
I can read it.
Okay, so this is pretty much the whole finale. The whole... Yeah.
This isn't something that you haven't heard before if you've been through us the whole show, but this is like the semi-finalized version of it where we took everything that we've ever said about it and sort of crammed it into one fucking actual like solid cohesive thing, as opposed to just like a bunch of random like mud and shit and grass.
So there should be some solid entertainment, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I tried to use the most brutal descripting adjectives that I could.
Shit and grass, we got.
Mud, shit, and grass. Okay.
Now
a lot of this I just copied from your notes and like the first couple of sentences.
That's fine.
I did. But basically the fourth act is discussing infiltrating Ra's al Ghul's palace, which is basically his house. And it's a blown out action sequence for like most of the rest of the movie. And we had an idea for a scene towards the end of the movie. We've discussed this before. Basically, Batman and Talia are getting there, and they have to be sneaky about it. But they can't go in by pure stealth because Raish's men are pretty heavily guarding the place. And
all right,
so
let me read it. I'm reading ahead of you, and it's getting dramatic. Let me read it.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just enjoying what I'm reading, and now I just want to perform it.
Okay.
Good, because
Alright.
I don't think you were pulling your weight there.
Did I come across douchey? Did I just like take the mic from you? Was I Kanye to your Taylor?
Oh, cool. I'm gonna go get naked.
Wait, what?
Wait, am I still Taylor Swift, or did that stop?
If you're Taylor Swift,
Then yeah,
you just
get
became
naked.
Kim
I was-
Kardashian in that.
How?
Kanye and Kim. You know what? You don't. People aren't really your. Stay at your computer, Otto.
hey, Otto's brain is just a little more southeast from what we're thinking about. Did you get that? Does that make sense?
No. That would be why. I'm gonna guess.
Northwest.
Oh, that fucking crap.
Oh, you knew that one. Okay.
So I guess Ken was gonna read some shit.
Alright. Right when Batman and Talia get to Raish's fortress, they see it a few hundred yards off. Batman says to Talia, "Okay, so remember, Raish's fortress is too heavily guarded to just go in by pure stealth. There needs to be some sort of distraction. I'll handle that. You get in and destroy the Abaddon enzyme." Talia, how are you going to how are you going to distract all those guards? Right then, they see one of the biplanes heading overhead, heading to a city full of Abaddon enzyme, about to kill a bunch of people. Batman sees it. "Oh no, I think I found our distraction. Follow my lead." We hear Batman's epic theme when we see him jet in his new suit towards this airplane. His jets run out when he's halfway there, then he grapples onto it. This pulls the airplane down a bit. Batman jumps onto there and punches one guy, KOing him. He pulls the ripcord on this man's parachute and throws him off the plane. Another starts shooting Lewis guns at Batman. The guys shooting, two guys at Raish's fortress and machine gun nest, see this. One of them radios Raish. "Sir, one of our planes is being attacked." Raish says, "So, the detective survived, not surprising. Shoot the plane down." "But sir, our men." "Shoot the plane down!" And then the machine gun guys are shooting at the plane, which starts disintegrating. Batman picks up the guy, throws him off with the parachute. Batman jets off the plane and flies towards the fortress. As he does this, he whips out a couple of batarangs, breaking the machine guns, and he lands there at the nest and punches the guys out. This is how Batman enters the fortress. After a lengthy obstacle course consisting of booby traps and Society of Shadow Guards through the labyrinthine.
This is the part where I started.
Okay. Oh, so that was all just notes from there?
That was it. This is everything after that point is original.
Oh, okay.
That was intense.
Do you want to read it?
I didn't read it.
Okay.
I like to read.
Okay.
Man, I read all the Harry Potter books. I read Miss Martin, Miss Fowl. Man, I've got to read like 8 or 9 books.
Dude, me too. We're like on the same level. We're pretty smart.
Yeah.
9 books.
9 books. It's more than Chris.
Yeah.
Alright. After a lengthy obstacle course consisting of booby traps and Society of Shadow Guards through the labyrinthine underbelly of Ra's al Ghul's fortress, Batman makes it to the antechamber. Ra's is sitting there calmly waiting for Batman's imminent arrival. There are no Shadow Guards there. The two men are alone. Ra's stands to speak to Batman, impressed but not surprised that Batman has survived each tribulation Ra's had put him through. He reminisces about his many previous adversaries over the last 600 years, and notes to Batman just how much he is like the very first. Batman listens to Raish's tale of the nameless alchemist, an unmatched warrior perhaps even by Batman in his prime. It is explained how Raish perpetuated the bubonic plague and fought to keep a cure from surfacing. The alchemist, having developed a cure, foiled all assassination attempts against him, so Raish went to finish the job himself. Despite quickly defeating Raish, the alchemist, being noble, refused to kill his opponent. Raish capitalized on this and beheaded the alchemist. Noticing some papers on the alchemist's desk, this is new, Raish realizes how he could, by combining it with the Lazarus enzyme, weaponize the cure to target human cells and make it the cure for the disease of humanity on the face of this planet. Unfortunately, Raish did not have the means to synthesize enough of the cure to make its use practical, and so shelved the plan until he figured it out. Batman is informed that through the alchemist's inability to take a life, he was weak, and allowed Ra's to destroy mankind. Taunting Batman, Ra's says no matter how physically strong he may become, Batman will always have a spirit too weak to do what needs to be done, and thus Ra's shall remain invincible. Batman, sick of Ra's taunts, explains to Ra's that he doesn't need to die to pay for all the lives he has destroyed. It's Chris. Hold on, I'm gonna answer it. Welcome to Project Batman. Yeah, I guess. Come upstairs. Okay, bye.
That was weird.
It was a little weird.
What did he say?
He said, "Can I come upstairs?"
Oh, why wouldn't he just come upstairs?
I don't know. That's what he did last time. Usually he just walks into people's houses.
Yo, dude. That's Chris's style.
Hello.
What up?
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Not much. How was your movie? How's it going? Not much.
It wasn't as scary as you thought it was going to be? Did
Yeah,
you
it's
like
good.
it?
I thought it was gonna be about some doll, like kind of like Chucky.
How's Peter?
Cottontail? He wasn't in that movie.
From Office Space.
He's good. Not a big role.
Oh.
So basically, let me fill you on to where we are.
Sit down.
Yeah, have a seat somewhere.
I wasn't trying to be loud.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Basically, filling you in real quick on where we are, I redid our notes for the fight scene at the end, and I'm sort of in the middle of explaining all
So,
that.
Batman's still in the Batman movie?
We haven't written him off yet.
Yeah, we're thinking about writing him out and just calling the movie Immortal.
That'd be awesome.
Well, remember we decided we wanted lots of views and for it to be a totally family-oriented, like approachable movie to everyone. So we replaced him with a dog. So it's Bat Dog.
Oh, we did discuss this, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wasn't this like a whole episode at one point?
That was the last episode we discussed that.
Oh, yeah,
no,
yeah,
2
yeah,
episodes ago, I think.
That's awesome.
So anyway, I'm going to start where we were. Okay. Batman, sick of Ra's taunts, explains to Ra's that he doesn't need to die to pay for all of the lives he has destroyed. He throws the first punch, which sends Ra's flying into a wall. Batman is quite surprised when Ra's immediately shrugs it off. Ra's explains that though his plan to steal Superman's powers was a failure for the most part, he did gain something. The power to use the Lazarus pits again, for example, and also the power to punch Batman across the room, which he proceeds to do. Batman shrugs off the blow and jumps back into the fray. Though Ra's has a very slight edge in raw power, Batman proves to be the more skilled opponent, and after trading a couple of blows, Ra's decides he is no match in terms of brawling. Trying a different approach, Ra's pulls the alchemist's staff, which he kept as a trophy, and attacks Batman with it. He only gets in 2 or 3 blows before Batman catches it between the spikes on his arm, rips it from Ra's hand, and knocks him back with it. Ra's then pulls a sword off an adjacent wall, and a brief duel begins. Ra's manages to score a hit to Batman's face before Batman knocks his sword away into the Lazarus pit. Batman smacks Ra's across the skull in a retaliatory blow, and holds Ra's to the ground at his mercy with the staff. Batman announces his victory to the seemingly defeated Ra's. Ra's scoffs at Batman's predictability and slams Batman's end of the staff into his face, stunning him. Ra's stands at the end of the Lazarus pit and falls in before Batman can catch him. Batman prepares his staff as the power of the pit encircles Ra's, imbuing him with its strength and poisoning his mind. The smoke clears to reveal Ra's fiery, insane eyes. He jumps out of the pit to charge Batman, laughing maniacally. Batman swings the staff at Ra's, but Ra's snatches it from Batman's grasp as though it were covered in grease, and breaks it across Batman's back. Ra's delivers a bone-shattering kick to Batman's chest and sends him into the stone wall of the antechamber. Ra's goes to finish him off, but Batman grabs a broken power cable and shocks Ra's with it. Ra's bats Batman away with the brunt of his arm, but Batman nimbly lands on his feet about 50 feet away. Batman, using his booster jets in his suit, charges Ra's and lands a blow with incredible force, and lands to deliver several more. Ra's recovers and swings twice at Batman, missing each time but cornering him. Batman attempts to fly away over Raish's head, but doesn't make it 6 feet before Raish snatches him out of the air like an insect and slams him against the ground like a rag doll. Raish attempts to curb stop Batman, but just in time, Batman recovers enough to jet away, skidding to a halt on the ground a few feet away. He flips onto his feet and hurls a batarang at Raish. Raish ducks and the batarang misses, sticking into an inconspicuous tank behind him. Raish charges Batman yet again with the fury of an enraged bull. Batman throws a bolus in an attempt to ensnare Raish, but it fails miserably. Raish, predicting the move, catches the bolus in midair and proceeds to use it as a flail, savagely beating Batman with it. Each blow would kill an unarmored man and begins to show as Batman spits blood. Batman has no choice but to pull his double-bladed short sword. He slashes the bolus, severing it and making it useless. Raish drops it as Batman swings at him voraciously, but obviously tired and battered. Raish, smiling, intercepts the blow, sending the sword, and Batman with it, careening into a nearby pillar. Raish breaks the sword in half with a headbutt, leaving the other half stuck in the wall, and in the next instant breaks Batman's right arm with a sickening snapping noise, disarming him. Raish picks Batman up by his broken arm and throws him toward the Abaddon tanks opposite him. Batman is defeated. Raish picks up the broken bat sword on the ground and walks to Batman's limp form across the room. Picking Batman up by the throat and slamming him into the wall between two tanks, he announces that this is the last time he and Batman will ever meet. Preparing a death blow with the sword, it seems the fight is over when the sword flies out of Raish's hand, sent across the room by a gunshot. Raish turns to see Talia, smoking gun in hand, aimed right at him. Seizing the opportunity the newfound distraction has given him, Batman sees the batarang he threw into the tank earlier, slowly dripping the unholy Abaddon serum onto its blade. Using his good left arm, Batman pulls the batarang and delivers a shallow cut to Raish's face. Raish drops Batman and staggers back just a few steps. Not realizing what had just happened, Raish smirks at Batman's willingness to fight despite the utter futility, and wipes the small amount of blood from his face. As he puts his hand down, he looks at it and sees a bit of the orange, deadly Abaddon on his hand. The color and the youth drain from his face as he sees Batman holding the batarang dripping with his own poison. Raish falls to his knees, realizing he has just lost everything. Raish simply smiles and says, "I was wrong about you before, Detective. You do have what it takes to do what must be done." Batman replies, "You're still right about me, Raish, in that I haven't killed you. I've simply neutralized your immortality. You see, I had guessed that the Lazarus enzyme flowing through your veins would grant you some protection from Abaddon's effects. I was right. The Abaddon serum cannot kill you. But it's a double-edged sword. So long as the Abaddon serum is present in your body, the Lazarus pits can't heal you. And since Abaddon binds to human blood, you're not detoxifying yourself anytime soon. So you won't die. Not from that, anyway. What you will do is age, rapidly, back to your natural age of about 600 or so. And there's no way you can stop it. It's true I made a vow to never take a life, but the Grim Reaper, he's proven to be exactly the opposite." Batman beckons to Talia. Talia asks if he'll be alright. Batman says the suit will hold his broken bones together until he can get medical attention. They turn to leave. Talia, saddened but relieved that the conflict is over, starts to leave with him, until Raish weakly calls her name. Talia turns and sees Raish's dying form reaching for her. She says to Batman, "I have to. He is my father. I owe him this." Batman says, "You don't owe him anything. He's tried to kill you multiple times, has shown nothing but disdain for you, and not to mention murdered millions of innocent lives. He is beneath you." Talia says, "What if it was your father? What would you do?" Batman becomes seethingly angry at this remark. "How dare you ever compare my father to this madman? Fine. Have your final moments with him. You've just had your final moments with me." He storms off, leaving Talia alone with her father. Raish, getting increasingly older and his veins pulsating with the toxic Abaddon enzyme, musters the last of his strength to address his daughter. He says, "He's wrong. There is a way you can save me. We haven't got much time. Take me to the next room, to the machine in there. It can transfer some of your life force to me, staving this off for a while until we figure out a better way. You can still use the pit, and thus, I can by proxy. Talia takes him to the machine, which is much simpler than it appears in Batman Beyond. The setup is basically 2 chairs with restraints facing a computer. Talia places Raish in one chair and lies in the other. Raish says to the computer, "Activate the preliminary procedure." The restraints in both chairs close, and the computer begins powering up. 2 helmets come down onto Raish and Talia's heads. Raish says, "Activate program, transfer." The machine starts glowing. Raish then looks directly at Talia and smiles. "I want you to know that I lied to you," he says. "This machine doesn't transfer life force. It transfers minds." Talia exclaims, "What?" She begins to struggle to get out of her restraints, but is of no use. Raish says, "You have a laughable amount of trust in the word of someone you have betrayed so many times. Letting you live after our encounter with Superman was a mistake. This machine will put my mind in your body, giving me complete control. I will have access to your memories, and rest assured I will put them to excellent use. I will know everything you know about the detective, and mark my words when I tell you, I will use that to end him." Talia says, "You are a madman. Not for your actions, but for thinking you can ever defeat him. Mark my words when I say he will put an end to your insanity." Raish has a small laugh. "The final vitriol of an unruly daughter. I won't miss it. Let my final words to you be this. Once, I told you you were my weakness. How ironic it is that you, in death, will be my salvation. Goodbye, Talia." Talia, unable to flee, closes her eyes and thinks of Bruce one last time, flashing back to the 2 of them at the Milan Bistro. Quietly she says to herself, "Goodbye, beloved," just before the machine activates. A very dark version of Talia's theme plays as she dies. The camera focuses on Talia's closed eyes, which open to reveal that Talia is no more. And the soul behind those eyes is pure evil. Think when Aang goes into the Avatar state in Avatar The Last Airbender. A look of inhuman, soulless anger. Raish Talia looks over to see his old body crumbling to dust and smiles a contorted grimace at his victory over death yet again. Raish Talia grabs Talia's gun out of its holster, makes sure it's loaded, holsters it again, and heads off to where Batman was leaving. Raish, in Talia's voice, almost catches up to him at the front door and yells, "Beloved!" Batman turns for just a moment, scowls, and flies off. Raish Talia pulls the gun and aims at the unsuspecting Batman. However, he flies quickly out of range. Raish Talia smiles and says quietly in his own voice, "Until next time, then, detective." He laughs quietly to himself as the screen fades to black.
Woo! And that is as final as it's going to get till we get to the script reading.
That was pretty deep. I like that.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I decided to throw a little more brutality into the final fight. I wanted his arm to snap. Like, I wanted Batman to be at the point to where he was not throwing another punch.
Damn. That was nuts. There's so much dialogue. I love it. I love all the dialogue.
Yeah, I was going to do the whole dialogue of the Alchemist scene, but that would have taken like hours. We'll worry about that when we're actually writing the script.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as notes go, it works well.
Yeah, that was... You more than delivered on what I was asking you to do.
Awesome.
Okay. So, I have no issues with any of that. I doubt the 2 of you do either.
Oh, no.
Not that I'm anything.
Oh, yeah, and the power cable thing was new.
Yeah,
That
I
was-
thought so.
Yeah, that...
I like that.
I wanted him to be thrown into a wall and then use like a busted power cable to shock Raish. I thought that would be kind of cool, and I figured, that's workable in a fight. That'll give us another few seconds of fight there.
Oh, and after 2 episodes ago, we said we were going to do this fight sequence and time it in the room, and we tell you how long that took. And it was around 3.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, that for that final fight sequence, all in all. just FYI, we said we'd report back with that number.
Mm-hmm.
Now, last week we had gone over the chronology of everything to verify all of our notes. Also, when I've been typing out notes as I listen to episodes, I go to the bottom of the page and type suggestions that come to me while I'm listening to that. And I have a few here. It's not very many bullet points, maybe 10 or 15, and I would just like to address those and see what you guys think of any of those ideas.
Cool.
And some of them are from a while ago, so I may not have any idea what they're saying. They're just like, just free association typing while I was listening and taking notes to the other ones. So the first one says, Clock King is sent to destroy Batman's evidence. Perhaps Ubu saw him acquire it or something. Batman didn't get all the analysis that he wanted, but enough to know that Ra's is behind it. Then Batman's like, it's okay, we got what we needed. I don't know what that's saying, so I'm going to delete it.
I think we discussed at one point having the Clock King hiring scene after Batman runs into one of the Society of Shadow agents in a city, and that's when that city gets carpet bombed, and that's when Ra's knows, oh shit, Batman's on his tail.
Okay.
I believe we had discussed that a couple of episodes ago when we were working through Act 2 or 3.
Okay. I think the only thing I was really trying to say with this was that, like, after the ambush sequence, Bruce isn't worried about losing any of the evidence destroyed because he already figured out what was going on with the Abaddon and that Ra's was behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So no big deal with that one. I'd love Ra's to give some semi-logical speech about how money, economical governments are counterintuitive to the good of mankind. Some moment where we can sort of see what he's talking about. I think we've touched on that would be his whole politics and views on everything would be sort of fleshed out in the scene where he hires the Clock King.
Mm-hmm.
And they just sort of discuss the agendas between the two of them. Yeah, okay, these early ones we had done a long time ago, so sorry that I'm repeating those.
That's fine.
This one suggests that one of the Lazarus pits that Talia and Bruce are going to search, that's where they can run into a society, the Society of Shadows members. But we've already switched that.
Yeah,
with like how they run into everyone, so that's not really necessary.
Plus, it would be really predictable for one of them to be there. But for one of them to just be in a random fucking alleyway in a city that's about to go under?
Yeah. I don't even know what this means. See if you can make any sense of this. Introduce the Clock King by something horrible happening to a perfectly safe area within one frame, then reveal he's using the time belt to freeze Batman/Talia/ their surroundings while he implemented some plan, possibly targeting a city for the Abaddon or activating it.
So, wait.
Did that make any sense to you?
No, I'm guessing that he's somehow at the same time ambushing them in the Batcave and in a city. Yeah. Is what I'm gathering from that.
Or
did they just move?
Maybe that was when we were trying to put him in more scenes than just the ambush.
Maybe, but I think we discussed that he doesn't really need to be.
Yeah.
Because I want him to be a minor secondary villain, not like a major, like, he's the other bad guy. He's just... I mean, I want him... more than anything, he makes a pretty impressive cameo appearance.
Yeah. Okay, I like this idea. When Clock King introduces himself with the fucking... the pocket watch flying across the screen and then the explosion, and then it pans over to the Clock King and he says his fucking introduction line that's like quippy or whatever about time. One of Batman or Talia or Alfred say, just as a reflection of Christian's reaction and probably a portion of the audience, what the hell is the Clock King doing here?
I can't say no to that yet.
I know.
I mean, that's kind of clever.
I know.
I'm trying to figure out who would be best to say that. Talia would have no idea who the Clock King is. Alfred would, but...
Or rephrase it like, Clock King? What the hell is he doing here? because he was going through the Rogues Gallery, and, like, they're familiar with past villains, but, like...
Robin knew who he was and had never seen him before. Like, when they met in the Time Out of Joint, Robin had no idea who the fuck he was. Like, Robin had never met the person, but he instantly recognized him with a split-second glance.
Well, then that gives us license to do that with someone else who's never seen him in an episode.
Yeah, so we could... Talia wouldn't know Alfred would definitely know.
Alfred's about to die, let's give him a laugh.
Yeah, you know.
Well, that might happen. So that's on the record, so I'm going to delete that. Yeah.
I like that. It's classy.
Yeah. Like, maybe a little bit of laughter before the whole make the audience fucking cry their organs out sort of thing.
There's
that scene is going to draw tears.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Like, I cried writing it. So, yeah. I mean, it was...
I think I know where I probably got some inspiration for that, because I wrote that a long time ago. Like, that's an old note. But, okay, let me go into a Lost tangent for a minute. I'm sorry, I always do this. In Season 3 of Lost, like... In Season 2, they started to implement other characters that weren't in the original plane crash, and you'd start to learn about these other characters and be like, oh, okay, like, these people have a background too, like, they're part of the story as well. And then in Season 3, they went a little too far, and they were like, oh, there's these two characters, Nikki and Paolo, who were on the original plane crash, but they were never present in Season 1 or 2. We were just supposed to assume they were, like, background characters or were never on camera, and then they just show up and like start helping our lead characters, like, hey Jack, what am I supposed to do? And as an audience member, you're like, who the hell are you? I don't feel comfortable with you. But the show for a while really tries to sell you on them. And so the audience as a whole has a really negative reaction to these two characters, and like they've been implemented into maybe like 4 episodes before that first episode airs with them in it, and they get a reaction, and the writers are immediately like, oh no, we need to take care of this, we need to kill these guys. And then so they dedicate an entire episode. It's brilliant. It's just called Expose, and it's just a great hour of television. It's all pretty much an inside joke with the viewers of the show, who are really nerdy, and it's about how terrible these characters are. And at the beginning of the episode, it's just 2 of our main characters, Sawyer and Hurley, just playing ping pong on the beach. And Nikki, one of the 2 characters, fucking falls out of the jungle and faints. She mumbles something and faints. And then Hurley's like, oh my god, Nikki! And like he runs over to like help her. And then right before it cuts away, like the cold open to the episode, right before it cuts away to like commercial or whatever, Sawyer just turns around and sees her on the ground and goes, who the hell is Nikki?
I love when writers of things do those like really tongue-in-cheek things. It was like one of the last episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender. They end up at like a Fire Nation playhouse or something like that, and the playhouse, they're basically just doing a recap of the show. And there were like certain episodes that were really unpopular that they made fun of, and then like it was hinted at incredibly vaguely that one character died, and it was implied to be just as vague in the play. And they're just like, wait, did he just die? I don't know. It wasn't very clear. I mean, they're sitting there making... I mean, it was the last episode that they had before they did, like, the series finale.
Yeah.
So it was the last chance they were going to get to have a little bit of fun with it, and they decided, let's sort of poke fun at ourselves while we're doing that.
It's actually one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, it's just such a smart ass thing to do.
It really threw me off the first time I watched it, because I was like, oh, okay, this is the episode before the finale. They're gonna set up some crazy shit, and they had already set up the crazy shit. They were just like, we're gonna take this half hour just to like,
let's relax.
Yeah,
sit back,
poke fun at our own creation.
Years. Cut the lights down.
So when, like, I do stand-up comedy sometimes, and when you get an idea for a joke, you'll, like, whip out your phone or get a piece of paper or something, and you'll just write down the subject matter, and you just assume later when you're looking at it that
You'll remember it.
Yeah, but then you just, like, pull out, like, I could do it right now.
Something more shit.
Alright, let's see. When parents reverse a door lock. That's what it said on there. I don't know what the joke was, but I had one at one point. Anyway, so these suggestions were sort of just like
that.
Yeah, they were just like thought out like in one quick moment without any second thought to it. Just while I was listening and already taking notes. So
like the whole thing where it's really unclear where they actually are.
Yeah. So I'm saying I don't really know what I'm talking about in some of this, so maybe you do, and if not, we'll just delete it and no big deal.
Okay.
Perhaps when Talia and Batman are discussing the Abaddon and stuff, in order to justify her knowing how to sabotage the Abaddon equipment/factory, she can say something about how she's sure there's aspects of some things that Ra's has been preparing for years, that he always had several different plans in motion that he was toying around with, and this can lead into the conversation where Bruce is like, "You do realize how crazy he is, right?" Etc. I don't really know what the conversation where Bruce is like, "You do realize how crazy he is, it's right," etc.
Yeah, I don't
means.
remember that one.
But like, I assume that's saying that like, at some point before they get to the fortress, before she has to face Ra's and help Batman out, that they have to like totally like make clear that he is a crazy maniac before she fucking gives in to him at the end. Like, it has to be clear that she understands that and still goes back to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they should just have some sort of conversation about how she knows that, or has to realize that. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah, there should be something alluded to in that.
It could just be, like, maybe on their way to the fortress or something.
Or outrunning Abaddon serum.
Yeah. Perhaps when Ra's gets out of the transfer scene in Talia's body, we don't make it exactly clear that it's Ra's until Batman has exited and he says, as Talia, "Until next time, detective." It's a reveal, meaning we have to make sure he calls Batman or refers to him as detective at least like 3 times in the movie prior to this moment. So say that like Ra's doesn't explain what's about to happen at the end. You just don't know what's going to happen. Talia's like taking his fucking word for it as what he says he's doing, and then he steps out, and then fucking you're like, oh shit, Talia's Ra's. Like, make it like a thing for people who don't know the Batman Beyond episode. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I really like the dialogue they have there at the end.
I do too.
And like that shot of, I mean, we would lose that shot of it being like when Talia opens her eyes. Like that's I think that's going to be a big thing.
Very true. Very true.
I mean, that's
Now, when Talia opens her eyes and they've already done switched their minds and shit, is it going to be like a different eye color?
no, but you'll be able to tell physically. Like you'll be able to tell that there's somebody else behind them. Like, more through facial expression than anything else.
Okay.
Just like his usual scowl.
Okay.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would be. It would. Imagine Talia doing a Ra's al Ghul impression. Is basically what it would look like.
I didn't know how that scene was going to work out. Like how someone not knowing the characters could know that they switched and kind of understand.
Well, if we do the movie right, you'll know the characters by the end of the movie. Also, you said Talia's Badia earlier. We thought that was funny.
Talia's Badia. Alright. Alfred suggests the new Batsuit. The next morning before the attacks, Alfred starts describing it, and he names all these ridiculous things that it can do. And Bruce is like, really? All of that, Alfred? I'm not RoboCop. And then he leaves with Talia, and he can be like, start work on your suit, Alfred. And Alfred's all like, are you sure, sir? I thought that was too intricate. And Bruce is all like, if you think it'll work, make it happen. Some shit like that. Like him putting faith in Alfred for like Alfred realizes he needs all this shit that Bruce doesn't necessarily think about. and Bruce sort of like makes it sound ridiculous, and then like once they set out for some serious shit, Bruce is just like, do your thing, man.
Why do I have the feeling that was put there as like a smart-ass suggestion in one episode and then brought up?
I don't think it was, but I think it's my way of sort of not having a long, boring conversation about what the suit can do between them. Like, that way you can sort of just have some humor. Obviously, that's not the exact dialogue, but, you know, just like sort of like...
Mm-hmm.
It's just a notion of like what... You still get an idea of what the suit can do, and then Batman will be like, that's crazy. Because when we read off that list of all the stuff the Batsuit can do, it is crazy. And then when the stuff happens, and then he has to leave, and like shit gets real, like with Talia, and then like there's stuff going on, Alfred's like, what about the suit? And then Bruce is like, oh, okay, I trust you.
I think it would work better, like character-wise, if Alfred dropped the "You're not RoboCop" line. Bruce is describing the features of the suit to Alfred, and Alfred thinks they're kind of outlandish, and he says, you know, you're not RoboCop. And then it would be funny just in the small, tiny Dark Knight Returns reference, because Peter Weller voiced Batman in that.
Oh, he did. That's funny. Okay, I like that.
But yeah, I think it would come off better if Alfred delivered that line, because Alfred's more the tongue-in-cheek kind of guy.
Okay.
And Batman occasionally does do something tongue-in-cheek, but
well,
for the whole dialogue...
I was suggesting Batman saying that in all seriousness. like that's crazy, Alfred. Making it a joke for the audience. But I see what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, I like what you suggested. So that's just a cool little moment we can work in. I love that shit. Irony outside the fourth wall, if you can spot it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, this is sort of like a light bulb moment to me. Maybe you can think of a reason that it doesn't make sense. But like when Talia enters the Batcave for the first time, and we see like Talia in the movie, like Bruce doesn't trust her. He thinks she's working with fucking Ra's. So why not have a fight sequence there? Why don't they fight? Or at least for a few lines, just like she shows up and he's like, oh shit, and then they fight for like a few seconds, and then like it's one of those moments in movies where like they're like holding each other, and like a moment she's like, this isn't necessary, and then like bam 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 movement, and he's like, well, I have to do this because I don't trust you, bam bam bam, and you know, this conversation
sort of like Simba and Nala.
Yeah.
Maybe. Though I believe we had discussed last time that we liked him running into Talia traveling the world as opposed to her showing up the Batcave.
Okay, well that wasn't the point of this suggestion.
But yeah, like
that gives us more action, and we also get to have important dialogue during an exciting sequence. Just
maybe I don't know if they would fight, but if we decide that they would, then that might be a cute scene.
Okay. And that could be sort of a way to depict that their rhythm is in flow with one another, like that they're very like coordinated, even though it's not coordinated. That like that they get each other's rhythm. Am I making sense? That they know where each other. It sort of symbolizes, because they're not stopping one another and they're just able to fucking talk during it, that they are in motion with one another.
Yeah.
So they're just blocking each other's moves.
Yeah.
The one issue I would have with that is that from a practice, I mean, of course, we'd have to have some suspension of disbelief here, but we have spent the first 20 minutes of the movie talking about how Batman is slow and injured now. And he's going to be fighting a woman who is essentially in her early 20s. Well,
but also would...
I mean, she's not quite as skilled,
but Batman from the animated series, who isn't old and slowing down, would have been able to beat her no problem. So now that he's fucking slowed down,
yeah, I suppose
they're equally matched.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
That's just me pulling an excuse out of my ass, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah. That's the best. This is the best thing when we were discussing it all last night. When being a smartass is productive. Okay, so this is worth interrupting the podcast for because it's fucking hilarious. Okay, so we were at this hookah bar in Stanton last night, And in this hookah bar, for some reason or another, they have a picture of Bill Cosby smoking a hookah. I didn't know that he did this. I didn't know that he was famous for this. But they have it. And it's just sitting there in one of the lounge areas. And I went up to the guy, and I was like, okay, regarding the picture of Bill Cosby you have smoking a hookah in there, I demand Jello pudding pop flavored shisha tobacco. They actually make their own flavors there. They're going to get started on it this week.
That's awesome.
They are seriously going to make a Jello pudding pop flavor because I was being a smartass.
That's hilarious.
I mean, no shit. Because the guy that owned the place was in there, and the guy that was working and the guy that owned the place were just like, man, that's actually a kind of good idea. Okay, we'll do that.
That's awesome.
So within the next 2 weeks, they're going to have a Jello pudding pop flavor at the Hookah Dooka.
What do you smoke out of a hookah? Tobacco?
Yeah, it's called like shisha. It's yeah, something like that.
It's not hashish. Though.
Hashish.
No,
but
I wish.
Same etymologically, same root word. But
okay.
It's basically like, because you have one, right? And it's sort of like a still kind of wet sort of thing, and you're getting a lot of times with a hookah, you're getting more vapors than you are smoke, and so generally speaking, it is a lot less, fucking horrible.
Mm-hmm. But, so it, like, gets you high?
Not really high, just lightheaded from a lack of oxygen.
Okay.
But, I mean, there's a significant amount of nicotine in it, but...
I've never smoked one.
Yeah, it's like, I won't smoke...
I smoked one with pot.
But, yeah, like, I won't smoke a cigarette, like, at all. They disgust me, but I'll smoke a hookah every once in a while.
Right on. I'd be willing to try it.
It's pretty good.
I'll try your Jello pudding pop.
That does actually sound.
Yeah, there's a little hookah bar called the Hookah Dooka, and it's in Stanton underneath a building that's next to a bank.
When they get it, let's go.
Okay, because I know I'm going there in. If you're free in 2 weeks, I'm going to the comedy club, and I'm meeting up with some guys that we met at the hookah bar who were some really fucking awesome guys, and we decided we're going to come back here in 2 weeks, and we're all going to wear suits.
That's awesome. Also, 2 weeks from tonight is Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shit. So get home, watch that shit, and fucking spend the next, hour and a half cleaning all the jizz out of my pants.
Mm-hmm. Or all the tears off the floor because everyone's dead.
Or all the tears off my jizz.
Yeah.
That'll be difficult. Don't want those things to mix.
No, you never. It's a dangerous combination.
That's how they make Abaddon.
So, that's how they do it.
We're going to have a grand sequence of Rach just jerking off and crying into separate containers. Ubu has to mix it together with his disgusted face.
Welcome to Project Batman, everyone.
Oh, so some of your dialogue between Bruce and Talia that you suggested at the beginning of episode 21. It's the dialogue right after Alfred dies, right before the Joker sequence. Oh, yeah. And it's basically Batman saying all these negative things about himself before he brings himself, before the Joker shows up and brings, and then he is like, fuck this, and goes and tries on the suit and then gets reinvigorated. I think a lot of that dialogue that you were suggesting that he say to Talia can simply be reworked into the Joker saying it to Bruce, because the Joker talking to Batman, I mean, that's what that scene is. I mean, to have a scene of Batman saying what he's thinking and then not have a scene of the Joker saying what Batman's thinking to Batman, it's like, why not just combine those things into just have those things all in the Joker moment, and then they can have sort of more of a conversation, because that makes you seem more crazy than anything. Is talking to yourself rather than just having your subconscious talk to you.
Perhaps here's one of the issues I have with it, and of course we're trying to characterize, and of course in this I'm trying to bring characterization to what is basically the ramblings of a crazy person, but Batman could never have a conversation at length with the Joker.
Right, but that's why this scene's so crazy.
Maybe, but I mean, there's something off about. I don't know. Write me a sample, and we'll see.
Okay.
Because like I when I hear your version of that compared to the version we have now, because the one issue is that, I mean, like, Batman has next to no patience for the Joker whatsoever. I mean, I don't think there was any point where he said more than a few sentences to him.
Right.
And, I mean, Joker will go a monologue a minute, but
that's why the scene of them being able to just fucking talk to each other would be so heavy, because the Joker's not trying to get away and do something because he's dead. Mm-hmm. Batman's not trying to get away and do something because he believes he just fucking failed and there's nothing else to do and the world's about to end. Like, this is the time where if the Joker were present, they actually, for once, could just see what each other were thinking.
That would be pretty heavy.
I mean, and I always envisioned this scene, like, from the beginning, the first time you brought it up, like, I always envisioned this as just, like, a really, like, sort of step out of, like, not step out of the universe, because it's still the same characters, but, like, step out of the feel of, like, the comic book and the cartoon and just have a heavy, dramatic, fucking poignant, crazy man talking to himself just with Batman and the Joker, which would be the two iconic things in this movie, or in this entire franchise, is Batman and the Joker, and they're telling each other basically what this conversation embodies the change that makes Batman's arc work from the beginning of this movie to the end of this movie, and also from the animated series to Batman Beyond. And the scene always seemed, from the time you brought it up, before you ever gave me any samples of the scene or the animatic where Joker's there for just like 15 seconds, it always just seemed like a long scene, like a fucking fucked up, like, I wish I could think of an example, sort of like Batman and the Joker talking when the Joker's in holding in The Dark Knight, but that's not even what I'm talking about, because there's people watching them and it's not like them being alone or whatever. I wish I could think of an example in something.
Okay, here's my thoughts on it. The other thing is, I really like that little conversation between Bruce and Talia. And, because that's Bruce lamenting on himself, and the Joker is compounding on stuff like that. What if he still says what he says to Talia, and then has a back and forth between the Joker? Because basically Bruce doesn't have anything to say that wouldn't be agreeing with the Joker. But when the Joker comes out and starts saying shit, he's going to start trying to defend himself. Mm-hmm. And so... Let me
write an example of it.
Yeah. We'll see how that works. I'm still iffy on it, but like, if we could somehow combine both of the two ideas, I think we could get it working.
Yeah, I think we could have Batman lamenting his own thoughts in that Talia thing, and then Talia leave the room, and then just Bruce, like, the Joker starts responding to what Batman was saying. From the time the door shuts behind Talia, like, then just like, oh, fuck,
yeah, I like that, you know, where maybe like, because like he says something to Talia, and then as Talia leaves, the Joker actually like follows up, like the next part, like
he was the conversation.
Exact. Okay, write it like that.
All right, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, write it like that.
Okay. Second to last bullet point. Okay. While it would be cool, and if you don't agree, tell me you don't agree, and that's fine. While it would be cool to include the Flash just to see him at the fucking mountain meeting, I think it makes more sense to only have Superman there if we're not going to have all of the Justice League there. Because Superman is the head of the Justice League. Batman's already left the Justice League. Superman's going to report back to all of them about what's going on. And he's the fucking government, like, he's the government's boy. He's the one that would be in there, like, for protection. And, like, to deliberate with all the big fucking world leaders. So, I feel like having the Flash there would only just be... First of all, it would be a more complicated conversation, because you'd have to explain why he's there instead of just having the info exchange that Batman and Superman would have. and B, it just feels like we want to see him.
I can see that.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I mean, we could have all the Justice League there sort of in the background in street clothes, and then, like, Batman only talks to Superman.
I like just Superman. Because like you said, he would go back and tell everyone else they don't all need to be there.
Although
But
it would be a nice cameo to have them all there.
Yeah, I'm thinking that like it would make sense for the entire Justice League to be there.
You think?
Minus Batman, of course, because Batman's no longer technically part of the Justice League. But the rest of them, especially, I mean, the real high up guys, actually, thinking about it, the Martian Manhunter probably wouldn't be there, considering as he's pretty much retired by the end of Unlimited and comes back to help fight Darkseid, and that's about it. But I mean, he goes off and he gets married or whatever. He goes to find himself because he doesn't understand why he's fighting to save humanity because he can't find anything good about it. So he goes to go find things good, and he goes and gets married and shit.
I watched the first 3 episodes of Justice League yesterday because there are 3 parts. One episode.
What'd you think?
I mean, it was awesome. I watched it because I was babysitting Tom and Rosie's kids, and like we were just trying to figure out something we would all be down to watch. And it's like me, a 12-year-old, and then a 1-year-old, and this 1-year-old who's obsessed with Batman. He has Batman toys. Whenever the kid's playing Arkham Asylum or whatever, or like fucking sees Batman anything, he'll just turn around. I bet he said it 1,000 times when I was there for 6 hours yesterday. Batman, Batman, Batman. But while I was there and we were watching Justice League, every time Superman came on screen, like he was sitting in my lap and he was fucking paying attention because he loves Batman. But every time Superman came on screen, I was like, Superman, just trying to teach him something else. And I taught a child who Superman was. And every time, and I taught him to identify him, and he said the word for the first time. He said, Superman. And so for the rest of all 3 episodes, he was differentiating between, he was picking them out between the 2 of them and saying the right name on each of them. And I know that's a lame story, but I've never really
that's kind of cool.
I've never really experienced moments like that with babies, and it was awesome.
That's kind of cool, actually.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But I think here's how we'll do it. Maybe Batman only interacts with Superman, but the Justice League is there for the most part, just to show that they are still, like, they understand that something's going on. It's not, I mean, come on. Like, the government would ask the Justice League to be present, or at least representatives thereof.
Right.
But the only issue is that if that is the case, then it would make more sense for them to be in costume, and we sort of discussed that we didn't want him to be in costume.
Well,
I don't know. This is...
Wouldn't they get the urge to come up and talk to him? Like, hey, there's Bruce Wayne over there. Remember him? Let's just have a chat, see what he's been up to for the past, 2 years.
Well, my idea of sort of how it would play out would be, like, as soon as we get there, just sort of have leaders fucking freaking out and, like, deciding what they should do and blaming certain countries, get a little, like, sort of political, like, show where we would be at politically as far as how paranoid we are as fucking species, and then Superman enters, and then it becomes more about, like, what I'm here to assure you we're doing everything we can, don't worry. And then, like, he fucking talks to Batman, he's like, I ain't got shit, bro. But he could just be in costume. If he's there to represent the Justice League and he is that guy, he could just be in costume. But he could just be kind of douchey to Batman since he left the Justice League. So that'd be like, shit happens, man.
No, he wouldn't be douchey to Batman because it is established what their relationship is later on.
Oh, okay.
And they're friends.
That's something you can do with Batman.
Yeah, they definitely have a mutual respect for one another, but at least on Batman's end, it's a begrudging one.
Wouldn't the rest
They
of
can
the
all
Justice
meet
League...
up at Joe's.
The whole goddamn Justice League. It's like the Avengers in the Swarma joint.
Yeah. I was just thinking that wouldn't the rest of the Justice League be like I don't know, help him maintain the panic everywhere else? Like, do they all need to be in one, like, area when they need to comfort other places?
That's what I was thinking. Like, they're off, like, since he's a representative of the Justice League, like, since he's the head of the Justice League,
He's the dictator of the Justice League.
Oh man, I just thought of it. Okay, now this is stupid, but I'm gonna say it. Okay, Superman's there and he does his thing, and then he comes and talks to Batman, and and they're having an exchange, and Batman asks where the other League members are, and he's like, most of them are off trying to corral the situation. I think the Flash is around here somewhere, and he zips up. He's like, "Hi," and then he's gone. He's like, "Hi," and then he's gone. That's it. That would be his only thing.
Hey, Bruce.
And it's just like, hey. And it does a very flashy thing for just a moment. It's really stupid.
At the same time, that's kind of funny.
That seems like Flash.
Yeah.
That's how he would act.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it.
I like that. That's fun.
I mean, it's just, again, smart ass is being productive.
Yeah, Bruce is like, where's everyone else? And Clark's like, I mean, I think most of them are in their respective cities watching over what they have to, but I think some people were invited. I think Flash is around here somewhere. Hey, Bruce. Yeah, I like it.
I like that.
All right, and the very last bullet point I have here.
It's silly, but it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
The last bullet point I have here is there's this movie called Closer, and it's got a bunch of great actors in it. It's a great movie. It's really depressing, but it's great. You should see it. But one thing I really love about that movie is that it's such a choice that you don't even really pick up on, is like, time passes in the movie. It's about two couples' relationships with each other as couples, and time passes, but they never specifically say like 2 weeks later, 1 year later. You just sort of have to pick it up through subtle dialogue and basically like how they've treated each other since the last scene. Mm-hmm. So instead of making a very deliberate, like, this is how much time has passed between the beginning and the end of the movie, we can just sort of take that approach, just sort of like, a few subtle references. By the end of the movie, we reference how this started weeks ago, and there's already this many people dead. And, I'm saying we don't have to make a big deal, because if the audience is feeling what's going on in this scene, and in this scene, and in this scene, they're not going to be like, hey, how much time is passing? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think... Yeah, that works. I think we still need to have that little montage of them traveling in there.
I definitely think so too.
And that'll help sell that. They don't. Yeah, there doesn't have to be a 2 weeks later card. Or whatever.
It just gets us off the hook of having to say this is exactly how much time has passed. Mm-hmm. So that's everything I have. Now we're officially all pretty much caught up with where we expected to be, or where we want to be as far as writing this. And for closing the episode out, is there anything else you guys wanted to bring up?
I think at the very end, y'all guys should have that anchor lady say something a few weeks ago. All this says...
Batman's going to be watching the news at the end before he goes out and gets that final bad guy from the beginning. Letting you know that people are starting to repopulate the cities, that things seem to be done. Some scientists fucking speculating, like, we don't know why it happened, we don't know why it's not happening anymore. Fucking...
Well, the way that I understood it to be from the actual story is that Talia came forward with the Society of Shadows and used its resources to help rebuild.
Right, that's what I was going to go back at, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they actually see... Because Bruce doesn't know that it's Raish. He just thinks he fucking left Talia, and he's like, well, that's what Talia's doing now. Just back with the Society of Shadows.
Bitch.
Yeah, fuck that cunt. That's when he turns the TV off. He's just like, fucking cunt. Goes out to fucking beat some bad guys up, and the movie ends. But I wanted to say, before we end this, that next week, when we record next week, I have a very fun surprise. And that's only going to be said on mic right now. And when we cut the mic off, I'm not going to let them know what it is. And nobody here is going to know what it is until we start recording next time.
It's strippers. It's strippers.
That doesn't work best for a podcast.
Fuck them.
Man, you should see these tits. I mean, I know you can't. And that sucks to be you, because they're like all up in my face right now. Her nipples could cut glass. They're so hard.
I wish you guys could be me right now.
Wait, no, I don't. I hate
No.
But anyway, next week I'll have something pretty cool.
Exciting. Ooh. You play chicken. You fry.